Guys, welcome back. Brand new edition of Full Time Reds. Thank you for joining me, taking time out. Much appreciated. Today's episode, we're going to do something different. Well, not different. I'm going to try to tackle a couple of subjects in a different way. We're going to go over Ten Hag and the current situation, but I'm going to come in from a different angle from Ten Hag's point of view. I know this is getting repetitive. Everyone's covering it, but I wanted to do something a bit different around him. We're going to look at the Bruno Fernandes and Bayern Munich links, if there's any substance to that, along with Casemiro and Saudi Arabia. Will it happen? Will it not happen? And we're going to look at basically Jadon Sancho and the overhype that is going on with him, and have people finally figured out is he good or not based on his performances at Borussia Dortmund. If you've not subscribed, please do so. Please leave a comment. Thank you so much for helping us grow. Yeah, let's get straight into it. On this channel, we've covered a lot of Ten Hag over the past since we started. We've nearly been going a year, and we've looked at a lot of it. And one thing I wanted to go over was, rather than looking at Ten Hag and is he going to get sacked? Is he not going to get sacked? Is he going to get back to X Y Z? One thing I wanted to look at was what he should have done from his own point of view to keep his credibility, which I feel he didn't do. I felt the problem with Ten Hag was when he took over the job a couple of months later, the club was put up for sale. And the first season he did really well. We finished, I think, third, won the Carabao Cup, lost the FA Cup final, and the takeover was dragging out over that at that point. And um, if you look at takeovers and how they work, what happens is, when a takeover is done, usually a lot of people, including the manager, lose their job. It happened at Chelsea, it's happened at other clubs, because the people that come in will want to change how they operate, want to bring somebody else in, want to change the job description of a manager, of other people. And this is exactly what happened to Ten Hag. What he should have done that summer, last year in 2023, he should have resigned after the FA Cup final, in my opinion, because his stake was really high. He knew the club was going to get taken over by, at the time, Qatar or Ineos, and it was very unlikely that he would have kept his job. History tells you that, regardless of what they are saying to you in the press, that you will keep your agent saying to you, or the club are communicating to you directly, that you will keep your job. He should have known at that point that it's best to move on, because his stake was really high. Could have got another job at that point. He didn't do that. The next thing what he did was he carried on and went into the season, and the takeover was still going on. He had a lot of injuries, and the takeover was ratified around about January. The new guys have come in and they started making changes, and they didn't back him publicly. I've said this in many videos. They did not back him publicly, and the season wasn't looking too good. We got to the Coventry game, we just about scraped through that, and people were calling for his head. And there were strong rumours that he was going to go, and we got to the FA Cup final, and the news broke the week before, couple of days before that, he was going to go, and then he went and won the FA Cup, and a lot of sentiment changed towards him. I feel at that point he should have resigned again, if he hadn't done before, because his stake was really high. If they finished the season off with a trophy, he could have walked into another job very easily. And also, he was constantly being undermined, because United were interviewing other people for the job, and he was being kept there knowing that they don't really want me. And he should have gone at that point, for his own sake. And I feel he's been advised really, really badly, and I think he's been undermined. And he should have resigned. Like, look, we're in the FA Cup final was like nearly. Look, we're on Tuesday, the 4th of June. It was nearly you know, nearly 10 days ago, and we've still got no decision at the time of recording. And I feel he's been advised really badly, and he should have moved on, in my opinion. And I think that's how he should have tackled it. I'm going to go into Bruno Fernandes and the Bayern Munich links, which I find really, really interesting. I think these are coming more from the players' side. And to be fair to Manchester United, the player's got 3 years on his contract, so I don't understand why they need to offer him a new deal just to keep him. He's 29, fantastic player when on his day. I have been critical of some aspects of his game, but fantastic player. But United shouldn't be being held to ransom for a new contract just because he's in 29 and he feels he might not get another big deal. And if Bayern Munich want him and they pay the money, they can have him. And it's simple as that. There is no other top midfielder out there in that position, and Bayern Munich could really do with him. I've been reading online that Bayern Munich don't really need him. Bayern Munich do need him. Could you imagine him providing the service to that front three, with Kane up there? It'd change their game. But Manchester United should not do this where they have a player with 3 years left, and just because he's being linked to another club, they feel they need to offer him more money to stay. He's got 3 years left, and that's the end of it. There's no more than that. And look, if the player and the club sit down and they both decide to part ways, no problem with that. If it's done properly and we get a right fee for it, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. It might change the way we play. It might take a bit of time to adapt, but I have no issues with him. But what I'm not down with is players saying getting linked to big clubs and United panicking, and United then having to pay 350 grand a week to a 29-year-old on a 5 year contract, who probably start diminishing in 2 3 years, and we can't get rid of him. So that's my thoughts on Bruno Fernandes. Also coming on to Casemiro, um, being linked with Saudi. Firstly, I don't think Saudi are going to pay 100 million for him or 80 million for him. I think that's total rubbish. I think even if you look at players they've bought them at low prices, but they pay the money up front. So Saint Maximin went for like 25 last year, and others went for because Mitrovic went for like 35, 40, I think it was. But they pay up front. They pay the full whack up front. So I think if United could get 25 to 30 and they don't have to pay Casemiro anything toward his wages, I think that's a good deal. I think he's been really poor. His head's not been in it. If you look at the Sufyan Amrabat's brother's interview yesterday, when he said that he didn't want to play the final, if true, I think it's over. I think he's been playing like that. He wasn't there for the celebrations, and I think if he moves on, wish him all the best. Just finishing off on Jadon Sancho, I really wanted to touch on this because after the Champions League, sorry, after the PSG game, the first leg, I think it was it the first leg? I think it was the first leg or second leg, one of them. He played really well, and the internet went crazy. Oh my god, I don't know how to play him. He's an amazing player, XYZ. Look at the stats of Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund and look at his game performance. He's been average at best. Even in the Champions League final on Saturday, he was average at best. And what you've noticed with his game is that he has become somebody that teams have figured out. And unless he gets a space in behind or space to operate in, he is not very good in low blocks. Also, if you look at his games with Haaland, and Haaland is technically finding this difficult as well. In the Bundesliga, they play high lines, fast breaking, they have fast counter attacks. Usually, it's like 3 versus 2, 3 attackers versus 2 at the back, and you've got space to play in. In the Premier League, it's a lot harder. The wingers, the fullbacks are quicker. The centre backs are a lot more physical, and especially Jadon Sancho is finding it difficult here. And even in Borussia Dortmund, he's gone, but I don't think he's set the world alight. And if Borussia Dortmund think that much of him, they've been tweeting about him so much, they can fucking buy him. They sell players, they buy players for like 5, 10 million and sell them for 60, 70 million. They've made like 120 million in profits over the last 6, 7 years. I'm sure they can afford 40 million if he's really that good. And the Twitter account said you were misunderstood. So then you can have him. No problem. We'll drop him off. But if Jadon Sancho thinks Ten Hag is going to go and then he's going to come back, I think he's misread the room because the fans are not having him. I think the fans won't have him, and I think the fans are sick of this bullshit of these average players that think they're better than what they are. Guys, keep it locked. Do subscribe. Leave us a comment. We'll be back during the week with some more Manchester United info. Full time.